Good morning.
Good morning, sir.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Welcome to our class. Yesterday, we did finish up with topic 2. So today, we discussed topic 3, which is an easy topic on source documents and coding. Okay, source document and coding. Okay, and as mentioned, by the term coding here, it doesn't mean computer programming. It doesn't mean computer or program codes. No. Okay. The term coding here means that you want to pass information in a much simpler manner. Okay. If you want to maybe indicate that the asset you're trying to describe is a non-current asset, what can we do in order to issue maybe some few letters, okay? Like for example, non-current asset, you can decide I'll use the N in the non, okay, as a code, the C to represent the N to represent non-current, okay, and A to represent asset. So simply you can say therefore NA represents therefore the non-current assets, okay? If they're current assets, you can decide I'll use CA, okay, to represent current assets, okay? So that's a simple code, okay? You're trying to pass on information, okay, in a much easier and a simpler manner, okay, through the use of coding system, okay? That's what we'll discuss in this document. Then we'll discuss the source document. If, for example, we are trying to record, okay, purchases, okay, we are trying to record purchases, okay, what documents do we require? If you're trying to record sales, okay, what document do you require? If you're trying to record payment of wages, okay, what records would you require for us that you have been, or it is the wages payment that have been recorded during that time period has been accurate. What documents would you be asking for to make it to ensure, okay, that the financial statement, or rather the wages paid, okay, as per the financial statements have been done in the correct manner, okay? So that's what we'll be discussing in this topic, okay? That's what we'll be discussing in this particular topic, okay? So go straight to the topic, okay? It's quite an easy one. So this chapter looks at purchases, okay, it looks at sales, okay, look at labor and materials, okay, and here we are trying to identify what source documents would we require in the case of purchases, what source document would require when it comes to the recording of sales, what source document would require when it comes to the recording of labor, okay, the same applies to the case of the material, okay, how are they going to be recorded and how are they going to be controlled, okay. I want to discuss more towards the control because I think you mentioned that in the past when we were discussing on the internal control system, but anyway, I'll mention along the way, okay? And of course, the thing we'll be discussing will be on the coding system, okay? So this is like two topics in one, okay? But they're quite simple, okay? So what is coding, okay? Now coding is a system of use of words, letters, figures, symbols that are meant to represent something else, that are meant to represent something, okay? Like I'll give that example, you may decide that the code, okay, CA, okay, this is just an example. So you can say that the non-current asset of the company, okay, that is assets that are going to have a life for more than 1 year. You can see therefore non-current assets of the company. So non-current assets. Non-current assets. Okay, so there's NCA. So if you're trying to give information regarding non-current assets, then you begin it, you can code it as NCA. Okay, if you're doing the case of current assets, this is just an example. Okay, then you represent as CA. A. Okay, this is just an example of the way that you can represent or you can code, okay, information. Okay, give me a second. So we're saying about the code. Okay, so a code, don't forget, it can be the use of symbols. Okay, it can be the use of letters. It can be the use of combination of symbols, letter, figures. Okay, to represent something else. Okay, or to represent something. Okay. Again, a simple example, in the case of you want to represent assets, okay, so you can say that this, I'll use, let's use another better maybe coding system. Let me use this example I've given here, the non-current assets and the current asset. Okay, you can decide if the account we are dealing with, okay, is an account that is an asset account, okay, then you're going to call it one, okay, we're using numbers now, okay. If it is an uncurrent asset, then it's going to represent another one, okay. So in case it's a current asset, then it's going to take a position of, don't forget first, this is assets, therefore one. However, it is current, therefore it takes, for example, position 2, okay. Which means therefore, if you're going through the chart or account for a company and you see 11, okay, let's say 1103, okay, you may not know what 03 means. However, by the mere fact that you know 1 is an asset, 2 is an current, then you can deem that this particular 1103 is representing an current asset company, okay. If you see 1204, okay, you know that first that this is a current asset, okay. You may not know exactly what it is, okay. So you may not know what 04 mean. However, you know that 1 was an asset, 2 give us more information regarding whether it's a current or non-current. So therefore, since this is asset and a current asset, that must be a current asset, okay, with 04, okay. So definitely based on the extra data you'll be having, okay, then you can deem what type of asset it is you have here. Okay, so first you already know. By the mere fact, the first two letters is 1, that's a current asset. 1, 2, there's a current asset. That's a coding system that you're using, okay? Now, what therefore makes up a good coding system, okay? What makes therefore a good coding system? Now, good coding system, okay, possesses the following features, okay? One, that items each have a unique code. So at the end of the day, okay, if you're going to represent, let's say, non-current assets, let me just go back to the code I've just given above there, okay? There's no two assets that need to be sharing the code, okay? There is no two assets within the company that will be sharing the code. If that is going to happen, that we're going to have a case where there are two assets or even expenses or even liability, if we do have two accounts that do share the same code, then that's not a good coding system. Even an example, okay? A key field, okay? Like I gave you the example of your admission number, okay? It's like a code, okay? You can say that way, okay? It's a key field, okay? So in itself, or there should be no other student that do take up, therefore, your admission number, okay? It's a code in itself, okay? It need to be unique, okay? If there's a case that someone, another student has that particular field, then that is an issue, okay? The code need to be very unique, okay? It is possible to interpret, it should not be possible, okay, that they have two meanings for the same code, okay? If that can happen, then we do have a problem, okay? The codes are uniform in structure and length, okay? What that implies is that let me give you an example, okay? A student number, okay? Let me just pick someone here. Just know what your student number is. Alexander. Alexander.
Yes, sir.
How are
Yes,
you?
sir. I'm fine, thank you.
Okay, anyway, I have seen your number already. Anyway, so for example, let me just pick the number of Alexander. Alexander, you're the one who was saying about the notes, is it? You're the one.
Yes.
Okay, I've done that already. So you should be able to get the notes you're using on the e-learning. They are there now. Okay.
Thank you so much.
Okay. So let me use the number for Alexander here to represent what I mean by the uniqueness. Okay. Okay. I know you guys whether can see the name of people in the meeting. So I want to pick the number for Alexander here. The admission number was happening. Okay, for Alexander, the number is 93,286. But you can see it as 0 at the beginning. For Yvonne, it's 13,7,2,1. Okay. What we are talking about the length. Okay. Now you may want to ask yourself, why do you have a 0? Okay, in front of the admission number of Alexander? Well, as we know, the number actually is 93. Okay, 286. It's simply to be able to represent the coding system. Okay. Because, for example, the admission number of every student is traveled so far, okay, is going to be 6 numbers, okay? So it's meant to be 6 numbers, okay? And as you can see here, we add a 0, okay? So that the structure, the length of the code remain consistent throughout, okay? Therefore, you'll see these are 3 numbers, and these are 3 numbers. So it's going to be 6 numbers, okay? The same applies, for example, the admission number of Yvonne, okay? So this game is 6 numbers. Every student, therefore, ought to have an admission number that is going to be consistent, is that going to be made of at least 6 numbers. Okay? So if the code doesn't represent that, okay, if the code does not represent that, then we do have an issue. The code need to have the same length throughout, okay? The same length throughout, okay? That's another feature of a good coding system, okay? Now, when it comes to the coding, don't forget, there are very diverse way of coding, okay? And you may require a chart, okay? If, for example, you have never been at Strasbourg, okay? You may not know exactly what the code represents, okay? Or even a given area, okay? An example, okay, for the case of Safaricom, what does star 200 mean? What does star 100 mean, okay? So there's some essence we call the code, okay, that you may require a chart of account that is going to, a key, okay, it's called a key, okay, that is going to help you in being able to interpret the information contained by a code, okay. However, don't forget the codes that need to be easy to use, okay, that is for sure, okay. It should be easy to use, okay. If it is complicated, okay, then that might not be the best code, okay. It should be an easy thing to use, okay. It should be easy to use, okay. It should just be understandable, okay, that you can understand, okay. You can imagine in case the admission number is not a number, it's an alphabet. Now, how confusing can that be? Okay, can be very confusing, okay. Therefore, it's better, okay, that as you do the coding system, you attempt to match them, okay. It's better actually, okay, if a code can be, most of the time, okay, the code should be will be numerical, okay, for the sake of making it easy for the computer to process, okay. But it does not mean that having a code that is has alphabet, okay, is bad, okay. But it's better or in most of the time, the codes that we having will be numerical, okay. There'll be numbers, okay, to make it easy, even for the system, okay, to be able to understand, okay. It's not going to be very concise. It should be short, okay, not too long, okay. It should be concise, okay. It should be as easy as possible, okay. It should be easy for sure, but of course simple to use, but also concise, straight to the point, okay. If you have to use that time, it should be also be easy for the members, for the users, okay, fast to use it, but also it ought to be concise, okay. It should not be too long, okay. If you're trying to represent, if you want to use the code to have to have 4 letters or 4 alphabets, okay, better off, okay, you have 4 throughout, okay. If you don't need 10, where do you have, if the code can have a structure made of 4, the length of 4, okay, either alphabet or numerics, okay, why do you need to have 10, okay? Okay, so we choose a code that is easy to use. Okay, choose a code that, of course, again, therefore, easy to use. And also, it should be precise, okay, in the sense that it should, the term to use, it should be, try to look for another better term I can use, okay. Precision is the extent that it's exact, okay. Or try to look for another easier way to use. It will come along the way, okay. The code need to be concise. I think I mentioned that, okay. It should be not too long, okay? It should be if two numbers can represent what you want to communicate, then don't put four numbers, okay? If three numbers can communicate what you want to, or the information you want to pass across, then don't have seven numbers, okay? That will be by concise, okay? Precise should be exact, okay? The extent of exactness, okay? And one of the way that should be precise is the extent that there ought to be no duplication, okay? I think I mentioned that before, okay? That the code ought not to be duplicated, okay? There ought to be, it's like a key field, okay? That's a better term to use, okay? It should be a key field, okay? Now, assume that we have a case here. We have two products in this market, okay? Let me just give you an example. We do have two products on sale in a retailer, in a supermarket, for example, okay? That shares a code. Now, that would mean that the company, you are either going to be charging the customer the wrong price, okay, or you're going to be losing money, okay? So you're either overcharging the customer or you're going to be undercharging the customer. Because here, you have two products that shares the same barcode, okay? Now, that's become a problem, okay? You may end up, it might have implication on the company either making money or losing money, okay? So the code itself needs to be very precise, okay? If you're trying to, the code you're trying to give is for, let's say, Carson, okay, this should not be replicated, okay, in another product, okay. Otherwise, that can be a major problem to the company, okay. The code needs to be very precise, okay. It is describing product A. That particular code should not be representing product C, okay. But it should be precise. At the same time, it should be expandable, okay. By expandable, what I want to mean that. Let me just go back to the examples given for the enumeration number. Now, the reason why you do have here, okay, the zero, okay, is of course is to ensure that the structure of the code is maintained, okay. But at the same time, the zero here is to ensure that it can be expanded in the future, okay. That, for example, if the numbers now are beyond 9999, it doesn't mean the code, okay, yes, 9,999, it doesn't mean the code need to be changed. But the mere fact you have a zero here means it's possible. You can still maintain the structure, okay, beyond the tens of thousands. You can go to hundreds of thousands, okay. So therefore, this zero, therefore, okay, is meant to ensure that the code can be expanded in the future if there will be need, okay. So you can have, for example, okay, the first student you had instructed was the first student, okay, you had one, okay, but it was admission number one, but it's not given one, okay. This element of adding 3 or 5 zeros in front of it to ensure that in future it is possible, okay, to maintain the same structure, okay, but still you're able to expand, okay. It should be expansible, it should be expandable, okay. So you can have here 5 zeros, okay. No, that are they 5? Yes, they're 5. Okay. No, but these are in as per se very necessary, okay, to this particular student, but is to ensure that in future this particular admission number system can be maintained. Okay, they can be expanded. Okay, from ones to tens to hundreds to thousands, 10 of thousands. Okay, 20 of thousands. Okay. That's why therefore the code you need to pay attention into the future. Okay, what will happen in the future? Okay. The structure of the code you would want to choose should also be expandable. Okay. Clear? Okay, great. So when forming the code, you may have to pay attention to those things. Okay, you may have to pay attention to those things. Okay, when you are forming a coding system. Okay. Now, what are the different types of codes or coding system that you can have? The first one is called sequential or progressive coding system. Example, your admission number. It's a code called a progressive or a sequential. Okay, that's the student. Okay, maybe let me go back to that admission number example. Okay. Okay, I use Alexander as admission number. Okay, so Alexander applied at 93 or 093 286. That's a number that was given as admission number. The next person to apply, okay, after Alexander, immediately after Alexander, okay, you can guess the admission number was 093, okay, 287. Okay, why? Because it's progressive. Okay, the numbers are on top of the other. Okay, that example, okay, that this was Yvonne, okay, you can decide that you can be able to tell that after Alexander, how many students have applied after that, okay, simply because the code itself, okay, is a progressive or a sequential coding system. Okay, the difference here is the number of students applied after Alexander, okay, between Alexander and Hannah, and Yvonne, okay. That simple code is sequential. It starts on top. Okay. The next number you can tell is going to be 88. Okay. 89. Okay. All the way to we call a sequential numbering, sequential coding system. Okay. So the numbers are given, or the codes are given to items in ordinary numerical sequence, so that there is no obvious connection between an item and its code. Okay, so it does not mean number 93 is better or worse. No. Okay, it doesn't mean number 87 is. It doesn't give or try to pass that information. What is happening here is that we are going to name the items. We're going to name the students, the customers, suppliers, our suppliers, okay, based on maybe when we create them, okay. If it is based that we did create, here we have a new customer, this customer becomes customer number 5. The next customer becomes customer number 6. Not that there was any logic, okay, of giving 5 and giving 6, okay, but we're giving numbers of these codes in a sequential manner with no meaning attached to those numbers, as we say, okay. Is that clear? Okay, we call a sequential or a progressive coding system. Okay. Then you have what we call, okay, maybe just this example, okay. So in this example, don't forget, as mentioned, this is zeros in front of the number 42. Don't forget, it's just to ensure that you maintain the structure, as well as to ensure that the code can be expanded in the future. That's why you have. That's why, therefore, we have these numbers in front of 42, okay? To maintain first is to maintain the structure of the code, as well as to be able to expand in future if there will be need, okay? Now, 42, what does 42 mean? It doesn't represent anything, okay? It represents the nail, okay, the 4 centimeter nails, okay? However, it was not given because there was not any rationale behind the number 42. Okay, it could have been given to another asset. Okay, to maybe an expense. Okay, to furniture. Okay, that's what we have. Therefore, we are trying to say that this. Okay, so it does not, for number 42, it was not so unique to represent the nails, okay? It is now going to be unique because it's again to the nails, okay? However, before assigning, it could have been given to any other maybe asset or liability or income or expenses, okay? Or an employee, okay? So it was not like it was like pre-assigned, okay, to a number, no, okay? The same applies to 43, so applies to 44, okay? Now, the problem you may have with this coding system, okay, what's the problem, by the way? Let me pick from you, okay? What could be the problem with having this type of coding system? Aisha?
Yes.
What do you think is the problem with this coding system? First, did you understand this coding system?
Yeah.
Okay, great. Okay, so what would be the problem with this coding system?
I think, okay, I think you may get confused. You may get confused on the items.
The items. Okay.
Yeah.
I seem to get you, but explain to us more. Okay. Explain to us, Aisha.
For instance, like at the supermarket, let's just say you give there are so many items and things like come there as a bunch, like many. So will you give, like for example, a bar of soap, 100 pieces? So will you if you give what, like a soap a code, each soap a code, you'll get confused.
Okay, okay. And it's true that the extent of the users of the code, okay, there's a chance that there could be high confusion because first of all, okay, there was no any logic that was attached when when the company was assigning those codes themselves, okay. So there could be sort of confusion because you would expect that if a code, don't forget, one of the features is that the code should be understandable. Okay, it should be, you can be able to understand it. But now, what does 42 mean? What does 43 mean? What does 44 mean? Okay, there's no meaning attached to the number. Okay, it's a unique code, that's true, but there's no meaning that was attached to when the number was being given. Okay, because therefore the confusion can be quite high. Okay, what would you expect? Okay, maybe in terms of the admission number will not be the best example. Okay, but maybe okay another way of trying to give the code or the admission number can be school based. Okay, like we have maybe school of the Institute of Manual Technology. Okay, maybe you have CPS students with their own unique code. ECCS students have their own unique code. By the mere fact of looking at the admission number, you can tell this student is for this particular course. Okay, however, since there is no that system of assigning the admission number based on the course the student is doing, okay, then you can't attach a meaning by the mere fact of the admission number. Okay, I hope you get what I'm trying to communicate. Okay, but the number itself seems not to have any meaning to it. Okay, the other method of trying of coding is called the block or the group classification method. Okay, the group or the block classification method. For example, okay, the first number, it can be the first number or the last number. Okay, it's not a matter that it can be the first number. For example, an example here given. Okay, so if the first number within the code, okay, it's 4. Okay, now it means therefore whatever you're going to describe, whatever numbers follow to that. Okay, it doesn't matter. Okay, you know that 4 always represents a nail. Okay, represent nails. Okay, so the 5 represents screws. Okay, the 6 represents bolts. Okay, so it does not matter what number follows after that. Whatever it will be, it must be a nail. If it's a 4, it must be a screw. Okay, if it's a 5, it must be a bolt. If it will be a number 6. Okay, now here you can see there's a meaning that is being attached to the number. Okay, there's a meaning that is being attached to a number. Okay, so if you can see that the first letter or the first numerator here you have is a 4, then that is always going to be a nail. Okay, it can be a 10-inch nail, it can be a 1.5-inch nail, whatever it is, but whatever is going to be described after that is going to be a nail. Okay, and a screw won't have its first number as a 4. It must always have a 5. Now there's a meaning that the code now seems to be communicating. Okay. These are improvements on a simple sequence code in that a digit, often the first one, indicates the classification of an item. I think you've mentioned that. Okay, it's not always going to be the first. The code can start even from backward. Okay, going to the first letters. Okay, so it can be 4. Okay, then that can be 4. Okay, then you have here the numbers follow to that. Okay, then it can be 5. The numbers follow to that. Okay. Okay, don't forget that the code can be in whatever format that you want to use, but essentially, therefore, whatever format you're going to use, okay, either the first or the first or the last letter, okay, is going to be having a unique. It is a sort of set of information it is trying to communicate to the users of the code. Okay, that is referred to as the block or the group classification coding system. Clear? Okay, no question. Then you can have what we call the faceted coding system, okay? The faceted coding system. Now here, each of the letter that you're going to have in the code, okay, have its own set of what it is communicating something, okay? Don't forget here, let's go back here from what you just done, the block coding system, okay? It's only the first letter. The letter after the first or the last letter, okay? In this, the letters that follow after, okay? This N, okay? They may not have any unique communication they're trying to communicate, okay? They may not have any unique set of information they're trying to communicate, okay? However, when it comes to the faceted coding system, each of the letter is going to have something it is communicating to the user, okay? For example, okay, you can have here, okay, the first digits, okay, if it's going to be a 1, it's a nail. It can be a nail. If it's going to be number 2, it's a screw. It's going to be number 3, it's going to be a bolt. The second letter has its own way of trying to make another communication, okay? It is made of steel, made of brass, or made of copper, okay? The third letter, another way of communicating, okay? Maybe its length, okay? 150, 60, 75, whatever it is, okay? But at the end of the day, each letter within the code, okay? Each letter within the code, okay, has a unique information it is attempting to communicate, okay? Now, what does this code mean? Hamida. Hamida. Hamida is not in class. Hamida, we can't hear you. Wait, Hamida, we can't hear you. Okay, maybe the mic problem their side. Moses. Moses.
Yes, sir. Good morning.
Good morning too. What does the code 323 mean?
It means balls, brass, and 75 millimeter.
It means that we have a bolt here, okay, that is made from brass, okay, and it has a length of 25 millimeter. Yes, that's great.
Yes.
Okay. Like I said, therefore, this code or this faceted code, okay, but if you do have a chart, okay, you have a key like you have here, okay, it is possible for you to be able to interpret, okay, what each of the letter want to imply, okay. Now, the consider for this is the code has more. It is passing on more meaningful information, okay? It is passing on more information compared to the other two codes, which I think we have already mentioned, okay? The case of the sequential, as well as the case of the block. Sequential is the one that seems not to communicate anything, okay? But the block, okay, it does have some set of information to what pass across, okay? However, the faceted even passes more information, okay? Then you have what called the mnemonic coding system. We have called the mnemonic coding system. Okay, well, this is the use of like some letters, okay, to represent. Okay, anyway, let's go through it. The meaning of mnemonic is a learning technique to aid the memory. Okay, this type of coding, the code means something. It may be an abbreviation of the object being coded. Okay, LAX mean the research as maybe airport. Okay, DKA. Okay, means Jomo Kenyatta International Airport. Okay, NRB means maybe remote to represent Nairobi. Okay. However, for someone who may no longer be versed with this coding system, then it might be hard for them to understand, okay, what the code is trying to mean, okay. So you must, in quote, have experienced this code before, okay, for you to know what it means, okay, to mean what it is, or to mean what therefore this means. Now, what does this code, okay, this is what the code mean, okay? What does this mean, Joshua? Joshua. Joshua, okay, I think he has an internet issue. Marvin.
Yes, like.
Sorry, what does DBX mean?
Yes.
What does this code DBX mean?
Okay, I really don't know.
Okay, and that's what I'm trying to say, that sometimes you can have, Marvin. In the case of the mnemonic codes, okay, unless you have exposure, unless you have the experience with that code, okay, you sure therefore you've had some interaction with the code before, it might be a bit hard for you to be able to understand the meaning of the code. Who knows what DBX means? I guess some of you should be knowing.
Dolby Studio.
Sorry?
Dolby Studio.
I can't hear well, Moses.
Dolby Stereo.
Oh, okay. You see, there's another meaning attached to it, okay, which actually I didn't know, okay. From you can look on the chat. I'm not sure even what that name is, okay. Maybe it could be a code to represent Moses. This was Moses. Yes, you can write on the chat, so I think the other can see. But it also has another meaning, okay, which is different from what was which is not what I was thinking. Moses was thinking. What does DBX mean? It has another meaning. Jay. Jay.
Yes.
Yes. Jay, we can't hear you.
No idea.
No idea. Okay, okay. Talu, what does DBX mean?
I don't know.
Okay. I thought there's someone who knows. Whitney?
Yes.
What does this mean?
I have no idea.
No idea. Okay, seems so. Ishmael. Okay, don't know. Ishmael?
Yes.
Yes, Ishmael.
No idea.
No idea. Hannah.
Yes,
What does DBX mean?
I don't know.
Okay. No, DBX can also be used to present Dubai. Okay, it's a code sometimes used to present Dubai. Okay. Anyway, as you can see, most of the time, okay, unless you are maybe conversant, some experience with that particular coding system, then it can be quite to understand what it represents. Okay, it can be very hard for it to represent what that particular code means. Okay. Don't forget, at the end of therefore, okay, the set of at the end of the day, okay, the code that is going to be used, okay, ought to be able to set off, the users should be able to, if there's a key provided to them, they should be able to understand what information that code would want, or that code is trying to pass across, okay? But it should be easy to understand, okay? For the case of mnemonic, okay, it might not be the easiest to understand, unless, as I mentioned, okay, there's maybe 3 lines with that particular code before, okay? Then you have the case of the hierarchical coding system, okay? This is a type of fast code, okay? It's a type of faceted code, okay? However, here, the numbering, okay, whether numerical or alphabet, okay, there's some sequence to be followed, okay? There's some sequence that are going to be followed, okay? Now, for example, okay, we did the facet was 3, okay, was a screw, okay, to the lead to 12, okay. Now 3, 1, okay, is going to be you're trying to give like two sets of information, okay? Is a screw that is flat-headed, okay? Now 3, 2, what is it, okay? Is a screw, okay, don't get 3 is a screw, okay, that is round-headed, okay? So you're going to, for example, this gave me subsets that follow from the main set, okay? The time to use here, okay? 3, the code 3 itself as it is, okay? Now 3, 1, then 3, 2, can have 3, 3, okay? So they're going to have, the first is going to be a unique code, okay? The 3 is a unique code itself, okay? Then 3, 1, okay, is a screw you're trying to describe, okay? Now 3, 2 is the same screw, but you're trying to have, trying to make another description, okay? Now you can have 3, 1, 2, okay? 3, 1, 2, for example, a code of 3, 1, 2 will mean therefore that is a screw, okay? That is flat-headed, okay? Maybe 2 can have another information. Maybe it's 10 millimeters, has a base of 10 millimeter, okay? So each of the code or each of the letter within the code, okay, is also trying to pass on some set of information, okay? However, it's sort of like hierarchy, okay? Let me give it. Let me just share my writing area to describe it more, okay? So I say that's number 3, okay? Number 3 represents a screw. Then you can have a case of 3, 1, if you measure that, okay? You can have 3, 1, 2. You can have 3, 1, 2, 3, okay? It can continue, okay? You can also have a case here. There is a screw, okay, that is flat-headed, okay? This screw is a flat-headed screw, for example, okay? Then you can have 3, 2, which is distinct, okay? It means therefore 3, 2 will be represented as screw, but it's not flat-headed because for flat-headed it's 1, okay? The number 2, okay? You have this scheme, for example, like we have just done here, it will be a screw, okay? That in this case is round-headed, okay? Now 3, 2, 1, okay, means you're trying to give us more information, okay, with regard to the screw described above, okay? For example, okay, for example, it can be round-headed screw, okay, with a base of 10 millimeter, with 10 millimeter base. Okay, that's how the nails. Now 3, 2, 1, 3. We are trying to give us more information regarding the screw you just described above. Okay, we'll call it's a hierarchy. Okay, it's a hierarchical. Okay. Now don't forget this game is very different from 3, 2. This game is 3, 1, 2, 3. Okay, is different from 3, 2, 1, 3. Okay. And once you have the code, okay, just the case of the faceted, you can be able to tell, okay, you can be able to tell that, hey, we are dealing with the particular set of information, okay? This is of the hierarchy. Is that clear? Don't confuse this with the faceted, okay? Don't confuse, but it's like a special type of faceted coding system, okay? It's like a special type of faceted coding system. Clear? Okay. Don't forget here is about the hierarchy. Okay, it's sort of like the use of hierarchy system. Okay, as the name is suggesting, is the hierarchical coding system. Okay. This type of faceted coding is where each digit represents a classification, and each digit further, okay, to the right represents a smaller subset than those to the left. Okay, smaller subset than those to the left. Okay, therefore the use of the hierarchical coding system. Is that clear? Okay, great. Don't forget this hierarchical coding system. We're saying one of the key features of a good coding system is that it needs to be expandable. Okay, and this also is it can be quite expanded. Okay, like say you've just done here. Okay, you're going to be adding letter to the right. Okay, of the letter of the code. Okay, if you're trying to attempt to add more information. Okay, 3, 1, 2, 3, 3, 2, 3, 1. Okay. So it is possible to have this code expanded, okay? Even though that you don't have, for example, the numbers like we had in the case of the sequential number system, okay? Where you begin with 0, 0, 0, 1, okay? Okay, for this code system, the hierarchical coding system is also expandable. Even though we don't begin here with a 0, for example, here there's no 0. Okay, there's no 0. Okay, but it's still expandable because we are expanding going to the right. Okay, we're going to the right, not to the left. Of course, therefore, why do you need to code? Okay, of course, coding. Okay, if you're just in the case of a retailer, okay, case of supermarket, okay, it makes things a bit easy. Okay, it makes even the computer to be able to, it make it easy, for example, to have the use of computing system to come into play. Okay, don't forget, as I mentioned, it's worth enough that you have the coding system, if possible, to be numerical. Okay, so that the system can pick it easy. Okay, so the system can go to read. Okay. Of course, it doesn't need the case of the non-numerical, the alphabets, okay? However, for most of the time, it is better to have the code in numerals, okay? So code is going to usually present, is going to be briefer than the description, okay? You're trying to describe, you're trying to give personal description. What item I deal with? Non-current assets, that is a motor vehicle that has a life of 10 years, okay? That's a lot of information, okay? So if you can use a code, okay, that is going to have maybe 1 or 2 letters, it'll make it easy to pass the same set of information in a much easier manner, okay, in a much easier manner, okay. And of course, it also make it easy, okay, to reduce the chance of errors coming in, okay. For example, the case of the barcode system, okay, that I think we mentioned for retailers, okay. You don't have to feed in this code manually in the system, okay. If you have a scanner, the scanner can be able to pick, okay, like that barcode system, okay, to make it easy, okay. The chance of errors and mistakes are reduced, okay, if you have to use that term, okay. More precise than description and therefore reduce ambiguity, okay. Of course, this will make it easy to facilitate data processing. They make it easy. As I mentioned, the use of computer system, okay. If you have a code, okay, if they're numeral, the better off, okay. It'll make it easy for data to be processed, okay. You can even have maybe mention the case of errors, okay. Okay, reduce chance of errors. Okay. Especially in case the codes are numerical. Okay, that is, they are legible by maybe a scanner. Okay, so all those advantages of a coding system. Okay, so should we use a coding system? You may want to discern. Okay, do we have, if we have 1 transaction per day, okay, that can happen based on the nature of industry you are in, then you may not need the codes. Okay, if you do you have frequent, okay, transaction, you as market, then of course you may have in code, okay, look for an advanced coding system because your transaction are quite high. So you have to decide, okay, maybe what's the frequency, okay, we have for the transaction. If it is once in a year, then you may actually want to avoid altogether the code, okay. Don't forget the code comes, definitely coding will also come at a cost. So you may want to decide, okay, do we need these codes, okay? Do we need them? If we don't need them, then don't. If the cost of maintaining this code is maybe high, okay, compared to the benefit you receive, then don't do them, okay? Don't forget, it's always about cost, benefits, analysis, okay? An example here. I go through it, and you give me the answer, okay? This is an example. I use it from a past paper. Okay, go through it, then give me the answer. Jenga, what do you get? What's the answer? Jenga. Okay, Jenga is not in class. Okay. Yvonne.
Yes.
What's the answer?
C.
C. Okay, C. Ian, do you agree? Ian?
Yes, C.
C.
Yeah.
Okay, great. Okay, C. Let's do it together. Now, which of the following collected the codes? Collected codes for the depreciation on cars. Okay. So first, is to begin with the car. Where a car is an asset, therefore, we take 3. Okay. So therefore, it takes the first letter must be a 3 because it is an asset. Okay. Then the car is non-current. Okay. It's going to last longer than 1 financial year. Therefore, the next code should be 1. Okay. Then we want to describe depreciation. Okay. Which is therefore going to take therefore 2. Okay. The last thing is a motor vehicle. Okay, therefore will be 4. Therefore 3, 1, 2, 4, 3, 1, 2, 4. C. Yeah, great. Okay. So that's the code for agreed depreciation on cars. Okay, and that's for the code system. Okay, very easy. Now, when it comes to the documents, okay, I think we have discussed already, but either way, let's go through it. The number of documents that we do require for the major transactions. I think we discussed this, okay? The purchase transaction, sales transaction, payment of wages, okay? So this one we discussed already in topic 1, if I remember. But either way, okay, when it comes to the documents for buying and selling, okay, what are some of the sort of documents that we look for, okay? So one of them, of course, is what we call the purchase requisition form. Okay, we call the purchase requisition form. Okay, if you remember, we were discussing about the internal control system. We said that before the company can make any purchase, there need to be someone who is going to instigate that purchase to be made. Okay, there need to be someone who is going to start off the process. Okay, and therefore, what do you need? There need to be someone who's going to therefore have a purchase requisition form to be signed. Okay. Employee X, I need a new laptop, okay, with the following specs, okay, A, B, C, and D, okay. That's the same requisition form, okay. Okay, so they need someone to get to therefore raise a purchase requisition form, okay. And what happens next? There will need to be a quotation or an estimate, okay. So what do you do? As a company, if we don't have this laptop in our store, what do? We ask our supplier, hey, we need a laptop with the following specs, okay. Provide us with give us a quotation, okay, on the possible price that you can charge us, okay. Therefore, having a quotation or an estimate of whatever was being requested for, okay. What happens next? If we agree with it, then we raise a purchase order that, hey, supply us with a particular commodity, okay. Okay, we raise a purchase order. Then what happens after that? The supplier is going to deliver. Okay, attached with what the laptop, for example. Okay, there will be called a GDN. Okay, so the supplier is going to encode dispatch the goods. Okay, it's going to dispatch the good, and you see that it's going to dispatch the good with the invoice plus. It'll be the invoice. Okay, the invoice plus the purchase requisition. It'll be the invoice plus the good dispatch note. Okay. There'll be the invoice and the good dispatch note. So the supplier is going to dispatch, through a courier, for example, the goods plus the invoice plus the good dispatch note, okay? Now what happens next of that, okay? There will be the good receipt note. So to the supplier is a good dispatch note, okay? To you as the customer, you are receiving, we refer to us as a GRN, a goods received notes, so it'll be a GDN, good dispatch note from supplier, and a GRN, which you are the one receiving that document, therefore become therefore a good received note, and of course there'll be an invoice.
Excuse me, like.
Yeah, sure.
I have a question. I have a problem.
With what?
I'm not understand about those codes earlier on that about purchasing a car. Those codes number 1, 2, 3, 4.
Yeah, okay. So you didn't understand.
I totally didn't understand anything.
Okay. Now here, let me, part of the others for the rest of you, let's just go back to that question, So here, we want to get a code that represents the car, a depreciation on the car, So first, you need to understand, what's a car, It's a motor vehicle, isn't it? It's a motor vehicle. So among the different code we have here, we have 1, expense, 2 is an income, 3 is an asset, and 4 is a liability. What's a car? Is it an asset or an income?
An asset.
is an asset. Is an asset, therefore, okay? Therefore, that's why, therefore, the first letter, therefore, takes 3. Because the car is an asset. You own it, okay? It's something that you're going to bring economic benefit to the company. Is an asset. Therefore, the first letter takes 3. Clear so far? Then the second digit, okay? When we say that we do have a motor vehicle, do you use it for 1 month or do you use it for like 5 years?
5 years.
Well, definitely, it's going to be long term. Okay, you don't use it for only 1 year. Okay, you're going to use this car maybe for a number of years. Okay, therefore, it is not a current asset; it is a non-current asset. Okay, because you're going to use
a fixed asset.
It's going to extend for more than 1 financial year. That's where in the second digits we use therefore 1. Let me see, because it is not current; it is non-current. Clear?
Oh, yeah.
That digit.
Yes, clear.
We want to describe depreciation. Okay, that you can see what means here is depreciation, the loss of value of an asset. Okay, that don't forget, as the time goes by, the value of the motor vehicle will be reducing. Okay, so the next thing to describe is that you want to describe depreciation of that car. So here in the number 3, we do have 2 codes, either 1 or 2. 1 is for cost, 2 is for depreciation. So it represents 2 because we are describing depreciation. Clear?
Yeah. Yes, clear.
4 digits, we are trying to give more information regarding this particular asset. Okay, what type of asset do we have here? Is it property? Can be most towards building? It's not a building. Okay, it's a machinery. It's not a factory machinery as per se. Is it an office equipment? No, it's a motor vehicle. Therefore, it takes number 4. The code 4.
Yes,
it's clear.
I've understood. Yes,
okay.
I've understood.
Okay, great. Okay.
Thank you.
Welcome. This is those documents we have described above there. Okay, they're just what we call in quote general documents. Okay, they're just referred to as the general documents you may require along the way. Okay, now let's go into detail. Okay. If, for example, we're trying to record for materials, okay, the purchase of materials, okay, there's some other documents that you may require along the way, okay. Don't forget, material means that if we take the perspective of a company involved in manufacturing, okay, example, we have ABL, we have Bidco, okay, we have Unilever, okay, they involve manufacturing, and of course, it's a must for them to buy raw material, okay, so it's a must for them to buy the raw material, okay. Therefore, there will be documents that will be kept in terms of the purchase of raw material, okay? And one of them, okay, is called a bin card, okay? Now, a bin card, what do you need a bin card for? Is to track the inventory, okay? It's more towards tracking of the inventory, okay? Where if we are going to receive materials, okay, you're going to receive material, you're going to you are Unilever, okay, one of the ingredient of your soap, for example, is the oil, okay? So you want to track how the oil has been used within a given time period. So you can have a bin card, okay? Where in case you receive, let's say, 10 liters of oil, you put them into the bin card, okay? For example, this is a receipt, okay? Here we have receipts, okay? As you can see, you have receipt here, okay? We have received, for example, you have received here 200 units of the particular ingredient, okay? However, on the 7th of May, we are using, okay, how many items have you used? You have used 20, okay? So you can see, therefore, the balance is reducing. This is the issue of the usage. The balance was 240 here. We have used 30. It remains 210, okay? So simply a bin card, therefore, is a system, most of the time manual system, okay, meant to track on the usage of the inventory, usage of raw material, okay? We call a bin card, okay? And of course, therefore, you have, for example, you have here the receipt, that is, you are receiving the material. We have the issue, that is, the material is being issued to the factory, okay? And of course, you have the balance here, okay? The balance is what is remaining at the end of the day. What is remaining at the end of the day? That's what referred to as a bin card, okay? Of course, it's good. Actually, it is in itself is an inventory control system, okay? In itself, it's an inventory control system, okay? Then, of course, we call the store ledger account, okay? with the cost of forget, we are going to prepare, okay, accounts for the usage of the material within a given time period. Okay, you have to prepare the accounts. Okay, the storage accounts are very similar to bin cards. However, these they're going to include what refer to as the cost detail. Okay, let me just take you back to the bin card. Okay, on the bin card, okay, the bin card here, you receive material. On the 5th of May, okay, on the 5th of May, we received 200, but there was no cost here attached to it, okay? Now, in the case of a store ledger account, you go into detail, you describe, okay, what was the cost that we incurred in the purchase of the 200 units, okay? So here you can have, for example, have a column, okay, for cost, okay? You can have a column here for cost, okay? And here you can have a column for cost. And here you can have another column here, okay, also for cost. Okay, they have become therefore a store ledger account. Okay, you're going to be attaching costs, okay, to that particular item. So here, for example, on 5th of May, we bought items worth 200 items. Okay, that's worth 1,000. So here, include therefore the 1,000 here. Okay, here we issued items of 30 worth how much? Okay, well, let's say 60. Okay, so over and above the bin card, okay, what has been the information given under the bin card, okay, you're going to include, therefore, now the cost details regarding either the issue, the receipt, and of course the balance of the inventory at a point in time. Okay. Okay, great. So the cost details are recorded here. I think I mentioned that. Okay, in the storage account, the cost details are recorded here. In the bin card, there was no cost details. Okay, I hope you can see that distinction. In the bin card, we don't have the cost details. Okay, simply trying to track the usage of the inventory. Okay. In the case of the cost ledger, the storage account, okay, we are going to include the cost details, okay, so that the unit cost and total cost of each item and each cost of issue and the receipt is shown, okay. So the balance at the end of the day is going to be shown with the cost, okay. We have 10 units remaining. What's the value of those 10 units remaining? You're going to also indicate in the store ledger account. You bought materials from this particular supplier, okay. We as Unilever, you've bought 10 liters of oil from Bidco, okay? So you're going to indicate in your store ledger account the quantity you have received, when, okay, you have received, and of course the cost you incurred in the purchase of those materials, okay? It's just like the bin card, but now we have, okay, the cost of the items, okay? The storage accounts are written up and kept in the cost department, okay, not by the procurement department. Okay, actually, okay, the bin card, okay, this is going to be kept by the store department, what referred to as the procurement department. Okay, it's here. It's kept by the store department, what referred to as the procurement department. Okay. The store ledger account is kept by the costing department. Okay. Is kept here is kept by the costing department, okay? The cost, or in the case of the finance department, okay? The key distinction between these two, okay? But don't forget, they're more or less like the same, okay? Or the only difference is that here, we're going to be indicating the cost that is being incurred, okay? They're going to have an extra detail, okay? The cost that the company is incurring in this particular system, either purchase, the issue, and of course, the inventory balance. Clear? Okay. Then it's also worth enough that as a company, you do make estimation of what if in quote a free inventory. Okay, it's not that it's free. It's not that you've bought it for free. Okay, but you're trying to limit us with free inventory to the extent that it is not going to be used, for example, during the production process. Okay, we have maybe you have 10 units of units. You have 10 units of inventory, raw material. Okay, you have 10 liters of oil. Once you start production, you're going to consume 8. Therefore, what's the free inventory? 2 liters of oil. Because based on what you'll be consuming, there's some inventory that will be remaining, okay, and in quote unused, okay, and quote you refer to as the free inventory, okay. Why do you need to know the free inventory? Because it's going to guide the procurement you're making. It's going to be guiding in the next one day, okay, how many units do we need to buy, okay. So the free inventory, because if, for instance, let me give you an example. The one for, let's say, Unilever. Okay, as soon as, for example, we have here day one. Let me call this just day one. Okay, day one. Unilever in the store, we have installed, the company has, let's say, 20 liters of oil. Okay, 20 liters. Okay, they buy the same day. Okay, this is purchase. Okay, they purchase, let's say, that liters. Okay, then in the same day, the company will use, let's say, 25 liters in making their products. Okay, they use 25 liters. Now the question is, what's the free inventory we have here? The free inventory will be 20, which we had at the beginning, plus what has been bought, which is 30, to give us 50, minus what will be used during the day. Okay, therefore, because therefore a balance equal to 25. This is what we refer to as the free inventory. Okay, the next day, for example, day two. Okay, if day two, the company estimates that, hey, the next one we are going to be using only 20. Okay, we're going to use 20 liters. Okay, that's what we'll be using the next one day. Okay, 20 of oil, 20 liters of oil. You may decide we don't need to make any procurement in day two. Why? Because already we have 25 that we had from the previous day. Okay, we have 25 from the previous day, which is enough for the manufacturing process for day two. Okay, because therefore you're going to have 25, okay, minus 20, the ones that have been consumed, okay, we remain with 5. So the 25 here is sufficient to take care of the need of the company in day two. Clear? So it's worth enough as a company, you do keep track of your free inventory. Okay? Okay, great. So free inventory, at any point in time, the amount of free inventory can be calculated as the inventory at hand plus inventory on order, that is the one you're going to be purchasing or the one that the supplier is delivering, okay, less any inventory that have been scheduled for use, okay. You're scheduling to use to manufacture, okay, and you're estimating, you're forecasting, you'll be using X units, okay. The rebalance, like we have just seen there, is referred to as the free inventory, okay. And the question is, why do you need to know about the free inventory? It is going to be guiding your procurement going forward. Okay. Suppose that a company, okay, so get the free inventory here in this particular simple example.
Uh, 7,500 kilograms.
500. Okay, it gets 500. Okay, so it will be equal to what you had at the beginning of the day, 10,000 plus what you're going to order, which in this case is 12,500. Okay, it will be equal to 10,000. Okay, plus what you're going to receive from supplier, 2,500, minus what you're going to use. Okay, which is equal to 5,000. Okay, okay, therefore 7,500 kgs. Okay, simple as that. Then when it comes to the labor, okay, when it comes to costing for labor, okay, paying your employees, paying the workers involved in production, okay, paying the supervisors, okay, how do we make recognition? What are some of the documents we require when it comes to wages, when it comes to salaries, okay? According to employees' time and timesheets, okay? So generally, okay, one of the documents which you do require is called a clock card, okay? And now for most cases, okay, or for most employees, okay, or for most manufacturing setup, it's worth enough that you make a recognition that, hey, what time, okay, I think you may have seen this, I don't know whether you've ever seen it, okay, but the employees in most of the factories, they record, okay, I don't know whatever system they're going to use, but they record, this is the time I've entered the company premises, okay, this is the time I've left the company premises, okay, so that particular clock card, okay, that's a timesheet. Okay, time referred to as a timesheet. Okay, it can be used by the company to be able to tell, okay, how much time has this employee used in making of this product. Okay, because it is going to guide them determining how much they ought to be charging their customers. Okay, so you can use it to track. Okay, if for example the employees are paid on hourly basis, okay, it's even more important. Okay, that the pay to the employee is pegged on, okay, the number of hours they're going to work. Okay, so and how many hours how do you determine the hours the employee have worked? Okay, through the use of the timesheets. Okay, so in case you do have them, then it makes it easy. Okay, For example, if you pay them at the end of every day, okay, and the employee has worked 8 hours, okay, to be there for 8 hours, okay, times the rate you pay per hour. If you pay them, for example, 100, okay, maybe you say therefore by the end of the day, the amount that is due to them is 800. If you have another employee who came for 9 hours, okay, it'll be 9 hours times 100. You get therefore 900. Now, where do you get this hour from? It's from the clock card or from timesheet, okay? So yeah, this document or this particular, I don't know, this document has to be kept well, okay? You have to be quite careful, okay, that when it comes to the use of the clock, the use of the manual system, okay, that the employee don't sign for each other, okay, that if an employee is coming in, okay, they're not going to sign for another employee who is not going to come, and at the end of the day, okay, they sign out for that employee, and the pay becomes due and payable, okay, whereas the employee never in the first place did turn up into the company premises. Okay, so you have to put controls. Okay, the one you mentioned, like for example, you can use the case of the biometrics. That's for example. Okay, because that will mean therefore, if you use biometric system, then there's no one employee who can be able to include fake the entry of another employee. Okay, so you have to be quite careful. If, for example, you do pay the employee based on the hours they're working. Okay, they cannot have faking. They are present, but they are absent. Especially the case where there are many employees, okay, like in the case of a factory, okay. And some workers earn a flat rate per hour or week or month, while others have a normal or called hourly rate, and as well as have called the overtime, okay. So as the employee, for example, claim overtime, okay, how will you know that they deserve the overtime, okay? You go back to the clock card, okay. What does card say? Okay, within this week you have worked, let's say, 55 hours. Okay, based on the data from the clock card. Okay, how many hours are you meant to work per week? You're meant to work 40 hours. Therefore, what's your overtime? Therefore, 15 hours. The extra in this case, the 15 hours. Okay, so all this data you get obtained from the clock card or the timesheets. Okay, whatever you normally use to record the time the employee comes to the factory and the time the employee leaves at the end of the day. Clear? Okay. Then you have called a job card. Okay, you call a job card. Now a job card, if for example we do have, assume that you involved in construction, okay, road construction, okay. Don't forget each construction you're going to be carrying out is a distinct work, okay, distinct from another road construction, okay, which means therefore when it comes to the costing of that particular road you're constructing, the cost being carrying is going to be very different, okay. However, don't forget the employees you're using, okay. You may have engineers, okay, you as maybe the constructor, you have engineers. However, the engineer is not getting involved every day on one single project. Okay, they're getting involved in project A. So that you have, let's say, like 2 projects. Okay, let me call this project A. Okay, project B. Okay, you have engineer. Okay, don't forget at the end of the day, you pay them. Okay, a fixed salary by the end of the month. However, how do I know? Okay, how much should I charge for A and for B? Whereas the engineer is spending time in A, in B, okay, concurrently, okay. So you need also what we call a job card, okay. If, for example, the engineer is going to, in quote, supervise job A, okay, they clock that, hey, this is the amount of time I've spent in this project. In this particular day 1, okay, this is day 1, for example. I've spent 4 hours, okay, in project A, and I've spent 3 hours in project B, okay, that's day 1. Day 2, all the way until the end of the project, okay. So that by the end of the project, you can tell that if, for example, let me call this like this. Let me call this is day 1, okay? And you pay this supervisor, this engineer, okay? That's 10,000 per day, okay? Okay, pay 10,000 per day, okay? Would imply therefore the cost that you can attach project A, okay, will be equal to 4 out of the 7 because 4 hours out of the total of 7, okay, times 10,000. The cost you can attach of the supervisor to project B is equal to 3 out of 7 times 10,000. So at the end of the day, you do require, okay, for project A, you require, this is the labor hour spent on this particular employee. This is the material I'll spend on this particular project only. Okay, so project A cost. Okay, so you can have here project A cost for engineer, cost for material, cost for casual workers. Okay, all of them here. Okay, the same for B. Okay, cost for engineer, cost for materials, cost for casual workers. Okay, and here you're going to have therefore cost for each of the projects. Okay, you need to make recognition the cost. Each of the project has its own individual cost. Okay, has its own individual cost. Okay, it's not like the case of mass production. You are Unilever. You are producing carton. Okay, you can't say that this is the cost incurred of making one piece of carton. Okay, it's quite hard because you don't produce one piece, you produce 1,000 of them. Okay, so that's more of what we call a batch cost system. Okay, because it's batch, you produce in batches. But now here, this is unique. Okay, this is project A, this is a road. Okay, it's not mass produced. Okay, this is a specific project we are dealing with, and it must be very specific when it comes to the cost. Because in case, for example, you do put a wrong costing, it means you're going either to overcharge for the service you've offered or for the work you've done, or you're going to undercharge and make losses. Okay, that's why you must maintain what we call a job card, very specific to each of the job. Okay, because you charge each of the job uniquely. Okay, you don't charge the whole sum. Okay, you charge each of the job on its own unique way. Okay, clear? Okay, that's referred to as a job card. Okay, that's referred to as a job card. Question? Okay, no question. Okay, some few questions here. Okay, I have some few questions here. What's the answer to A?
Purchase invoice. A.
Purchase invoice. What document shows the amount due to a supplier for goods bought or cost? It's called a purchase invoice. Requisition about you are the company employee making a request. Okay, GRN is the form that where you're meant to sign that I have received whatever I made request for. Okay, purchase order is you informing the supplier I want A, B, C, and D. Number two.
B.
Sorry, answer is
B. B for boy.
B for boy. Okay. Now, what comes first? Do you first make a requisition or you make a purchase order? Does the employee first make a request, I want this, before you ask the supplier? What happens? Do you first ask the supplier, then the employee asks for what they want, or does the employee first ask what they want, then you ask the supplier?
So it is a requisition first.
Don't forget, it's requisition first. Okay, it's requisition. The employee say, I want this particular laptop. Then you as a company, on your own, you say that, do you have that laptop in the store? No, we don't have it. So what do? We ask a supplier, hey, provide us with, we give you a quotation. Supply us with this particular commodity. Oops, sorry, sure what's happening. Okay, they will supply us with commodity. So between C and D, which is the answer?
C.
C. The answer is C. Okay. Okay, first is purchase requisition. You make the order then. Okay. Suppliers delivers to you. Okay. You have therefore a GRN, and with it comes with the invoice. Okay. So C. Okay. Great. Number three. Answer.
A.
Answer is A, material requisition note. Dog, you're not purchasing. Okay, don't forget that you're not purchasing. Okay, because purchasing means that you're going to a supplier. Okay, so and therefore don't forget it's a requisition, but no, you're not making a purchase. Okay, therefore material requisition notes. Number 4. Answer.
70.
70. Currently, you have 120. We order 40 more. Okay. Not yet been saved. Sorry. There are currently 120 of items in inventory. The material acquisition amounted to 40 have not yet been acted upon. Okay. There's a request for 40, and there are 90 on the order. So it's 120 plus 90, because don't forget it's 120 plus 90 because you are receiving. Okay. You are receiving. You are about to receive 190. Okay. 120 plus 90, then minus what you're going to be giving to the factory, which is 40. Can you get how much? Is it 70? I doubt whether it's 70. 120 plus 90 minus 40 gives you 140.
170.
170.
170 gives you 170. Okay. B, therefore, is the answer 170. Okay. Now, this is 40 you are using. It's going to be used. There's a requisition here for it. Okay. It's going to be used. Okay. 90 is on order. You're going to be receiving. Okay. 5.
Delivery note.
Sorry.
Delivery note.
Are you receiving, or what is happening? Are you delivering or are you receiving?
So goods received not.
Okay, it's a GRN because you are receiving. Okay, delivery note is supplier. He produce is delivering. Okay, so it's not, it's supplier who is giving to, who is delivering the goods to you. Okay, so that's delivery note is from the supplier. Now you, okay, don't get, you're the one who's going to prepare. Okay, you can prepare. Okay, your own, you are receiving. You are what called GRN. You're not dispatching, you're receiving. Okay, so it's more of a GRN. Clear? Any question? Good. No question. Then we can meet at 2:15. Okay. I'll see you at 2:15 then. Okay. That's Max 0 the file. That's topic 3. Okay, go to the next topic therefore. Okay, see you at 2:15.